Okay. Um, Welcome, guys. I know it's a long title, but it's something very interesting. If you recall, I said the Exchange 2016 DAG, now IP last, no administrative access point, right? We will see what exactly it means because some of you might be new to this stuff and might say, what administrative access point? What is it exactly? So we will dig into that. And then there is something called dynamic quorum. It's a part of Windows Server 2012 and enabled by default in 2012 R2. It's not directly related to Exchange, but we will see what happens if I have two Exchange server nodes and I build a DAG. Is dynamic quorum effective if I have just two nodes and some non-exchange witness? At the end, there are some design recommendation on some. So there is one very useful website I will refer to you, and let's get started. We have a DAG called DAG1, if you recall from a previous video, and it has two members, X1, X2. We have created it, we have tested it. So if I try to ping this DAG1, negative, right? It cannot resolve. If I try to ping just tag1 without domain name, it's the same, okay? The reason for this, because when we created tag1, we did not assign any IP. And if we go to the properties of DAG, we will see like this, kind of a broadcast, like 255.255.255.255. This is why it's called IP-less DAG, because no IP is required. This functionality has been added since Exchange 2013 SP1, and it's continued in Exchange 2016. Also, if we go to failover cluster manager, uh, there is nothing, right? If you recall in previous Exchange, right now, whenever we created DAG, it used to create something here, that DAG representation inside failover cluster manager. But it's not the case. That's what administrative access point is all about. No clustered computer account. Microsoft was telling us from the very beginning, don't manage DAG using failover cluster, and now they just removed it. So it's no longer possible using failover cluster manager. Now in my DC, and if I go to my domain, root and search for computer accounts called DAG1, you find nothing. Yes, see? Reason for it, because I said there is no clustered computer account created. Also, if I go to the default place, see, nothing. There is nothing called DAG1. And that's what Exchange 2016 cluster is. No administrative access point means no clustered computer account, and no, of course, no IP associated to it. So, once again, it was introduced in Exchange 2013 SP1 and it's there in Exchange 2016. Alright, so now we have this DAG, we have this databases, right? And if I run my Exchange management shell, yeah, okay, yeah, let me just run the Exchange management shell. And try to get information about my DAG using Exchange management shell. Let's say After all, it's a cluster, right? We remember when we configured it, install failover cluster manager. So I'll say get cluster. Yep. See, it is showing. It is accepting cluster command. It is showing DAG1. It's a cluster, but it's not possible to manage through failover cluster manager. So this time I will get cluster nodes, and it shows these two nodes for me, EX1 and EX2. Both are up. So as you can see, there is cluster, there are nodes. However, you cannot manage it through failover cluster manager. No computer accounts, nothing. Now let's talk about dynamic quorum. Dynamic quorum, as I said, enabled by default in Windows Server 2012 R2. And here you would like to see, is it effective if I have just two nodes running Exchange Server? What is dynamic quorum? It's like Windows Server automatically manages votes when a node shut down or goes offline. It loses its votes or its vote, and when it joins back to cluster, it gains its vote back. It's not an exchange feature once again, but it provides more resiliency in certain cases. And we will test in this scenario. Let's see whether does it do any good to us. So I will execute this commandlet, which is get cluster node, and then I would like to know the node name, the dynamic weights, which is basically it's a value which will change. That's the dynamic, it's a quorum value. As you can see, EX1 and EX2 and dynamic weight is 1, 1. What dynamic quorum should do, let's say if EX1 is down, this dynamic weight should becomes 0. Same thing for EX2. So let's see if I have, yeah, this is the weight of my node. This is the commandlet for it. It is showing yes, I'm sorry, this is showing yes my witness as vote. So one vote for EX1, one vote for EX2, and our witness have vote. Yep. Okay. And in my case, witness is file share witness. It's not an exchange server. It's a file server. Keep this in mind. I have just two exchange nodes, right? All right. So all three of them are fine. And let's test database connectivity. It should be okay because all my exchange databases are mounted. The commandlet we use is get mailbox database and pipe it to test Mappy connectivity. And it will tell me the status of my databases. Yes. The first three databases which are added to DAG, they are mounted on EX1. The fourth database, it's not part of DAG, it's on EX2, but it's also mounted. So we know witness have vote and our nodes have vote. So what I would like to do now, I would like to power off EX2. So just be with me. I'll pause the video and I'll power it off. Okay, I powered off EX2, and now if we go back to this command, let get cluster node, you can see EX2 is down because I just powered it off. Let's see, did it lose its vote or not? Because by dynamic quorum, it should release vote value or dynamic value from EX2 and make it 0. But no, the dynamic weight is still 1. It should be 0. It's down, right? So it should turn to 0, but it's not. Okay, that's fine. Uh, it's not losing its weight. Means dynamic quorum at the moment, it's not effective yet. On just 2 exchange nodes. And this is an expected behavior, to be honest. This is expected because uh, if you have just 2 exchange server nodes, you know, dynamic quorum is not that effective. Just to avoid a split brain scenario. If you have more than 2 exchange nodes, then it works. Okay, and as you can see, everything is fine. My databases are mounted. Should be. They were on EX1. The only database which is down, which was on EX2, and it's not part of DAG. So what I will do now, I will power on EX2 again, and I did. So yep. Let's see nodes. Yep, both nodes are up, and this command. Yep, weight, dynamic weight 1 1, and it's up. So let power off EX2. Now what I will do, I will sudden shut down EX1, and let's see what happens. Keep this in mind. Databases are on EX1. Alright, gentlemen. I turned off EX1. So let's see cluster nodes. Cluster node. Yeah, see? EX1 is down. Let's see what happens. Keep this in mind, this node was active 1. Did it lose its dynamic weight? No. EX1 dynamic weight still 1, supposed to be 0. Remember, that's the definition of dynamic quorum. Node down, value 0. Node up, value 1. Okay. Let's test mailbox databases. This should switch over, right? It's like sudden server failure scenario. Server goes down, passive copies becomes active on another server. Let's test it. And yes, that's working very well. My passive copies which were on EX2 now activated because EX1, which was holding active copies, were down. It was down. Alright, so what I will do, gentlemen, I will now power off our witness, this file server. Okay, what I did, I just powered off witness. Yeah, expected. Exchange one is still down. Nothing's changed. Both nodes have 1. Now let's test Mappy connectivity. Huh? Don't be excited. Just wait a while. But I just turned it off. If you don't believe me, then show it just being file server and see it's not accessible. So, how does cluster working? And I said, don't jump to conclusion. Don't be too excited because actually it's not. It's just taking a while, and after that, you'll see that database should be that it should show me some failure for these databases. Okay, let's go to Exchange Admin Center and see what's going on. You can see these are my databases. Let's just wait a while. Mhm. And you see, active disconnected, dismounted, active dismounted. And here, oops, uh-huh, look over there, under status, dismounted. So, DAG is not working once we lose one node and our file share witness. Let's test it again, which makes sense, which is absolutely fine. Dynamic quorum is not effective in case of just two Exchange server nodes. So what happened exactly, we loses one of our node and we loses our file share witness. So now what we have is just one node only. And you can see database is dismounted. So um, just to tell you, this is expected and this is what we know. This is what the documentation said. If you have just two Exchange server node, dynamic quorum is not that effective to avoid a split brain scenario. So again, see witness and the vote. So it went down. So now we have 1 out of 3. Nobody loses vote. So still we had 1 out of 3 means we lose majority. So DAG supposed to go down. So what I will do now, I will power on our witness, which is file server. Okay, what I did, I paused the video, I powered on witness, and what I did, I just waited for 3-4 minutes now. It's been up for around 3 minutes. So let's test our DAG, that what happened to our databases. Because when witness will come online, we will have 2 votes. So 2 out of 3 is a majority. So DAG should come online. And it will come online, but it will just take a while. Once the file server will come, your witness will come online. It will take few minutes to realize it. Sorry, I'm just talking. I just misspelled it. Cluster node, as you can see. EX1 is still down, EX2 is up. So let's test now databases. Are they up or down? Should be mounted. Come on, come on. Uh-huh. Great. So once we have on one exchange node and our witness, DAG kicks in. Good. So conclusion, as expected, if you have two exchange nodes and one witness, which is not exchange, like in our case, dynamic quorum is not effective, and this is by design to avoid a split brain scenario. If you have more than two exchange server nodes which are part of DAG, then dynamic quorum is very good and it provides resiliency. But again, you have to design it well to cover all possible scenarios. So it was a good test, it was a good drill. And in the last, I would like to mention this website, which is my MS Exchange. Yeah, yeah, this is a good website, and this article for MS Exchange Guru, it talks about different designs and what Microsoft do recommend now for Exchange 2016. As you can see, IP less DAG. These are the changes in the design. Limits are still same. 16 mailbox server, 100 copies. So basically, this page or this particular article, MX Exchange Guru, uh, has very good information about load balancer as well. That it supports. Now Microsoft still recommends Layer 7 load balancer if you are using single namespace. If you have multiple namespace, then it's better. Then you can use Layer 4 load balancer. But if you are using single namespace, it's better to use Layer 7. As you can see over here. Also now each Exchange DAG site, you know, you you can have. They recommend you to have 3 sites. Witness is better to keep witness off somewhere else. And that's what I was talking about, that if you're using multiple namespaces, then you can use layer 4. This is the design, which I really liked it, that if you don't have third data center, let's say you have production side and DR side, you can use Windows Azure to keep your file share witness. So this way you will have a third data center, which is a good strategy. Again, layer 7. Also, Microsoft now recommend they use single network for application as well as for Mappy connectivity, which makes sense now. IP less DAG, see, which makes sense for having single network, because nowadays the networks are very fast. You have up to 40 gigs of speed. And if you are virtualizing Exchange, then you have multiple NICs, load balanced. You may have 10 gig fiber connection, and you may have 40 gig fiber connection, multiple connection, load balance, redundant. So um, that's absolutely fine, and it reduces complexity. Just one network, no need to define additional networks. So if you have just one network and you follow DAG wizard, you should be fine, because that's what DAG do by default. It keeps the Mappy network enabled for application. So this is it, guys. Check out this website, MS Exchange Guru. And thank you once again for watching my video. Please do subscribe for future videos, and good luck.